When I was a little girl, my dad would take me fishing. We'd be visiting family in Minnesota, and while my mom was spending time with her sisters, Dad and I would go fishing. We'd take a couple of cane poles and a can of night crawlers to one of the local Twin Cities lakes. I'd catch only bullheads, but I was proud of them and had to take them back to show off to everyone. Grandma would bury them in her garden as fertilizer. The tradition carried on when I was married to Bob Filek. In 1974, we went to Wildcat Lodge, a fishing resort near Boulder Junction, Wisconsin. Wildcat Lodge was a small, semi-rustic resort on Wildcat Lake. The main building housed the kitchen, dining hall, and a recreation room. Several cabins were scattered nearby in the woods. There were boats and motors available for rent, and there was a small swimming beach. So with Bob's mother and 2 kids in tow, we headed up for a Northwoods vacation. Here's Bob, his mother, and his daughter Julie, setting off to catch some fish. This is Bob, waiting patiently for a bite. While we saw some bigger fish, we found where the bluegills hung out, and we ended up catching about 60 of them. Despite their small size, bluegills put up a pretty good fight, which makes them a lot of fun. We filleted them, the lodge froze them for us to take back home, and we had luscious little fillets for a few months. Although Jim was too little to go out on the boat, his dad helped him fish from the dock. Just like me, his first fish was a bullhead. The look on his face in this picture is priceless. The following year, we made the same trip back to Wildcat Lodge, this time with 3 kids. Karen had been born the previous October. Here's Bob, Julie, Jim, and Karen. We caught a couple of bigger fish this time, northern pike. These are really fun to catch. But I did not land my dream fish, a keeper muskie. At that time, a minimum keeper was 30 inches long. There's something very special about having a wooded trail all to yourself, especially for city kids. Here's Bob with Jim and Julie. When we moved from Chicago to the Twin Cities, we had more fishing opportunities. There are many lakes and streams, but we found favorite spots on Minnehaha Creek and the Minnesota River. Here's Jim's catch of the day. When you're a kid, it doesn't matter so much if they're small, as long as you actually catch 1 or 2. Here's Karen sporting leg and arm band-aids. She's a mosquito magnet and always had 1 or 2 band-aids covering bites that she'd scratched. On the bank of the Minnesota River, Karen is still trying to catch one, but Jim would rather explore a fallen tree. Karen finally decided that exploring the trees was a lot more fun than not catching fish. We sure had a good time on our little fishing expeditions. But I never did get my keeper muskie.